Julia, Johnson Matthey is one of the great old names of the City of London, and it had full year results today, and the shares have done very well. What's behind the share price rally, I wonder, and why was there this initial big jump of about 8% this morning?
Yeah, well, it would seem as though investors are easily pleased, because actually the company overall revenues were down and so were profits. It was only thanks to a sort of smaller tax rate that its earnings per share fell just 2% in the end. But overall, this was better than expected, and that's why the market rewarded it so well today.
Okay, but what does Johnson Matthey do exactly? I mean, it's really two companies. One is the sort of manufacturing side, and then there's the sort of precious metals side to it.
Yeah, so they're a technology company, and people like them because they're one of those technology companies that actually make something that you can touch and feel. So that being catalytic converters, mostly for cars to reduce emissions. But they obviously then have this big exposure to the platinum market.
Yeah.
So that's through distribution, refining and secondary refining, so refining of recycled platinum products as well.
Yeah. Now, exposure to the car market is generally not regarded as a good thing, especially in these economic times when the auto market has been really in the doldrums. But the US market is obviously recovering, and Johnson Matthey has a fair bit of exposure there, so that's where it seems to be doing reasonably well, I think.
Yes, so you're right in that the car market is obviously not good for the company, but the fact that emissions targets are being set, both the US, Europe and now China, is good for catalytic converter makers. So they're really benefiting more from that trend rather than sort of really the trends going on in overall car sales.
And what is their outlook? Are they reasonably positive on the next couple of years?
Yeah, so this again I think was what gave the shares a boost today. They see sort of this year being a little bit like last year, but it's really the year after that where they see that things will pick up, and that's predominantly driven by these sort of emission targets being met.
Okay. Johnson Matthey then is one of the grand old names of the city. They had results today that look pretty good. The share price has done reasonably well, and they're reasonably confident. I think there's a fair degree of optimism there. Thanks very much, Julia.